Hi there, and welcome to Graeme's Guide Friday Live, this Friday, the 8th of December, lucky number 8. Let's get straight into it today. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We've had many long videos in these first 2 or 3 weeks. 4 weeks. This is week 5 now. So I want to talk to you today. You can see here on my agenda about writing structure. Now, writing structure is going to get you halfway there. And then after you've got your structure correct, well, then it's your content you need to get correct. And your content will get you the rest of the way there. But you need to write your assignments based on good structure. And if you haven't done any academic writing before, then this is a really excellent video to listen to. If you have done academic writing before and you're trying to take yourself to the next level because you'd like to improve your grades, this might also be the video for you as well, because I'm going to be showing you exactly what we're looking for, what we'd like to see on the page. And this varies a great deal from student to student. But what I'm going to show you now is what we would like to see. All right, so let me go to Learning Group 19. I don't think we've been here before. I mean, they're all the same. And I'm not going to show you any students' actual posts. But here, let's go to assignment 2. And when it comes to writing structure, I'm going to be getting a lot of questions, I know, this week about formatting and presentation, and also word counts. I'm going to try and cover those for you today, as you can see in my agenda. I do babble on, my apologies. Okay, so here you've got a link that takes you straight into the Student Hub to formatting and presentation, and this is where you can find out exactly the sort of font and size font and type of margins you should be using. So this has taken us into academic writing and presenting. If you don't come here through my link, I'll show you how to get here. So let's just go back to the dashboard. You would go to Study Resources and then scroll down to Learning about Academic Writing. And here we're back at that place that my shortcut took us to. You might like to bookmark this page because it will be very useful to you. And then if you come down to Formatting and Presentation tab, click here, and it will open up and it will let you know that we prefer the fonts either Arial or Times Roman. Times Roman is a commonly used font in size 12, and your line spacing should be either 1.5 or double. So you can get an idea of the required formatting and presentation right here. It even tells you how to title your document file. I've already provided a sample of that in the assignment 2 discussion forum. So let's go back there and have another look. So this is the assignment 2 discussion forum. If we scroll down, you'll see that I've also provided Tanya's guide to week 1 to 6, the Collaborate resource for the first Collaborate session. We've got another Collaborate session coming up next week. Next Tuesday, I think, is when I'm on. And then here's my essay guide. I do stress that assignment 2 is not an essay, but you will be using the teal paragraph structure, which you can find in my essay guide. So, well, actually in my guide, it's called a spiel structure, but if you want the teal structure, go back here to the Student Hub and click on Essay Writing, and here it provides you with detailed guidance on how you can structure a paragraph using the teal approach. All right, back into assignment 2 forum. Again, I've shown you all this before. This is the reference list. Here's a structure that it's a suggested structure, highly recommended. Let's click on that and have a quick look at it. This is from the questions in the assignment to brief. There are those 7 questions that need to be answered, and I've suggested structuring your essay, not your essay, I've just said it's not an essay, structuring your assignment into 4 parts. You won't have a introduction, you won't have a conclusion, you'll have 4 parts, each part made up of either 1 or 2 paragraphs. So part 1 will be 1 or 2 paragraphs on the ethical dilemma and the stakeholders, and the same for part 2, part 3, and part 4. Each will consist of 1 or 2 paragraphs. The word count, though, should be around 375 to 400 words for each part. That will ensure that you're adequately answering the question. If you submit less than 1,350 words, highly unlikely that you're going to pass. So make sure you're writing at least the minimum word count, and preferably somewhere between 1,500 and 1,600 words. Here's the template document that I've also provided. This is where I was just talking to you about naming the file. This is what your file name should look like according to those instructions in the Student Hub. Let's have a quick look at this actual document. I'll zoom out so you can see it full page. So there's a cover sheet with your name and the name of your ELA. And then this is what I'm suggesting that your layout, formatting and layout should look like. So you could start with part 1, then part 2 would be on another page, because here you would write your 375 to 400 words. But this is how it should sort of look. I'm going to go into Academic Writer and show you. I've fleshed that out a little bit for you so you can see it in a bit more, see what it looks like on the page as well. So let me actually move in there now. I'll look, just before I move in, as you scroll down, you'll see that I've suggested sources here for each section. So for part 1, highly recommend that this is not a recommendation, you actually have to cite a professional standards document. So that professional standards document can either be a code of conduct or a code of ethics or a similar professional standards document that helps you provide an answer for how the ethical issue might best be dealt with, or actually it highlights why the issue is an ethical issue because you're basing it on evidence within the professional standards document. And then in part 2, I've recommended that you cite either Baldovino or Brown, or you might cite both. You will have noticed in weeks 4 and 5, in my responses to your discussion board posts, I'm trying to give you an idea of how you can integrate citations and connect theory to your writing. So if you haven't replied in weeks 4 or 5, hit in there and create a post, and I will create a response that demonstrates how you can include literature into your response. And in this case of part 2, you need to be providing links to the essential readings of this unit. In this case, Baldovino is the essential reading. It's video on language registers. I've also provided Brown as an additional source for you if you would like to cite Brown. In part 3, you'll need to cite the future work skills document, because you're writing about 2 future work skills here, and you probably will need to cite the code of ethics as well, because you need to connect the skills to the professional standard that you're trying to say will resolve the issue. And then in part 4, that's where you actually come up with your own solution for how you can resolve this issue, and you'll be using the professional standards document to support your solution. So again, you'll be citing the code of conduct or code of ethics here. So the professional standards document will be getting cited in part 1, part 3, and part 4 of your assessment. You may think that I'm giving you the answers, but in my experience of 10 years, I give the answers every teaching period, and every teaching period, it seems that many people think that the answers that I'm providing are not what is required, and I get completely different answers to what I'm giving you now. So if you would like to score a credit or distinction level or credit or higher, follow my advice, because the advice that I'm giving you is to help you achieve high grades. Alrighty, let's move on. Where are we going now? Let's go into Academic Writer. I'm not going to show you how to sign up for that, because I've showed you that in previous videos. I'm just going to go straight to Academic Writer. I need to go in, though, through the Swinburne Library. So I'm going to click on my link in the Swinburne Library to the APA Style Guide page. Scroll down to Academic Writer, click here, and taking a little while to come up. There we go. I need to, if it says welcome and it doesn't include your name, you know you need to log in. So I'm going to click here on welcome, click on login, and then log in. I got an itchy nose. Okay, and for those who have been following along, you'll be familiar with where we are here. You may have even started your assignment 2 or your assignment 3 here in Academic Writer. So I'm going to go to my papers. These are the papers that I've already started and provided you some guidance on in the previous videos. I'm going to click on assignment 2, and you'll see that I've now fleshed this out. Now, when you're looking at this document here, it's going to look very full on the page, because this is the editor. So this is like writing in Word, a Word editor. You'll also see there's a lot of red lines, because I'm using a type of text here. It's called lorem ipsum text, and it's placeholder text. So it's not meant to make sense. It's just placeholder text to fill in the page, and I filled it in with approximate what it would look like with the word count. So here you'll see I've got part 1, I've got a heading for part 1, and now I've got my first paragraph here, which will talk about the ethical issue, and it will make a connection to the code of ethics for whatever your case studies professional standards should relate to. And then the second paragraph in part 1 would be about the stakeholders. And you would talk about the primary stakeholders. You might want to talk about, I've got an itchy nose. You might want to talk about secondary stakeholders and beyond as well. And then in part 2, you'll be talking about the communication communication that is provided, the text. You've been practicing this in weeks 4 and 5. So if you want inspiration for how you can analyze and evaluate the communication for the case study, go and have a look at the examples in weeks 4 and 5 discussion, where I've been providing you with pretty what's the word, detailed feedback and guidance there. Then in part 3, you will be citing the future work skills document. You'll be nominating 2 future work skills that would help you resolve this issue. And then in the second part of part 3, you'll be making a connection to professional standards, with saying how does using those 2 future work skills help you meet the professional standards. And then finally in part 4, you will provide your solution, how you think the ethical issue can be resolved. You'll provide your solution in the first section of part 4, and in your second section of part 4, you'll be discussing the strengths and weaknesses of your solution. So you'll need to find what's really good about the solution that you've come up with, and then there might be some holes in your solution that could be better, that could be improved, or whatever it is you need to talk about there in relation to the strengths and weaknesses of the solution that you've come up with. Let's go and have a look at how this looks like on the page by clicking here on preview. I'm going to make this, I'm going to zoom out this kind of looks a bit weird on the page. I have downloaded this as a Word document. So once you've got your document finished here in Academic Writer, if this is where you're doing it, you could be writing it in Word. That's absolutely fine. Let me go and show you how so once you've completed it here, you need to download it into either Word or PDF format. So you go over here to Export, and then you click on Download. It's got Word selected. You click on Download Paper, and then you choose a file name to save that as, and then you can open it as a Word document, and you can revise it there, check it for spelling errors before you save it and submit it as your final for the assessment too. So I've downloaded one, and here it is here, the one that I downloaded, the one that is full of my placeholder text. This is how it looks on the page in Word. If you make changes here in Word to the citing and referencing, make sure you make those changes in Academic Writer and then export it again. So any changes you make, if you're using Academic Writer, any changes you make have to be made in Academic Writer and then export it as the final document for uploading. Don't make changes here once it's been exported, because it could alter the underlying code. Anyway, so that's what it looks like. So there's part one, there's a paragraph here, and then the second paragraph, it goes on to part two. There's a paragraph, another one there. Each of these paragraphs is about 200 words each. There's part three, 2 paragraphs, and finally part four, 2 paragraphs. Oh, it finishes neatly on the end of the page there. That's just a coincidence. And then finally, your reference list. If you're using Academic Writer, all of the citing and referencing, all the citing you've done will automatically flow through to your reference list. If you're not using Academic Writer, you will need to complete the reference list yourself manually by entering the references for the works that you've cited. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to show you today. So how long have we been going for? Nearly 20 minutes again. That's fine, because this is good information. There's probably more there that I could be talking about. One thing I did want to say, let me come out here. One thing I did want to say is that if you've been following along, you could be up to writing part 3 of assignment 2. So that means that, you know, you've already done a draft for part 1. Last week you did a draft for part 2 of assignment 3, which is on the communication studies, or you might be doing that now, having learned more about analysing and evaluating communication in weeks 4 and 5 discussion. But now, if you're on track to finish this assignment early, before holidays begin, then this weekend you would be writing up part 3. That's connecting to future work skills to professional standards, and how those work skills might resolve the issue. And then next week you would work on the final part, which is coming up with your solution for how the ethical dilemma can be resolved. And then in that case, you're a week or so ahead, and you're ready to submit to Studiosity, who will then provide you with some feedback on your draft and how that might be improved. And then you can submit on time on the 1st of January. That would be wonderful if you're in that position. If you're not in that position, don't worry, there's plenty of time. I've just been coming up with these suggested milestones to help you stay on track. But if you're behind with these suggested milestones, that's perfectly okay. You just need to make sure that you're handing in your assignment 2 by the due date, which is the 1st of January. And I'm harping on this because of the holiday season, and I really don't want anyone to be penalised for handing in late. I want you to do well, and I'm sure you do too. If you've got any questions, ask me in the discussions. I'm very happy to talk to you in the discussions. And I think that's probably enough for me. What is it? Coming up to 20 minutes. Exactly. Alrighty. Thanks very much for joining me today. Bye for now.